Welcome to the Imagine Crafts channel. Annie Collins here. Today we're going to create a masculine Valentine's Day card. Let's go with some of the products I used to create this card. We're going to use some Memento inks in Dandelion, Cantaloupe, New Sprout, Pear Tart, Summer Sky, and Teal Zeal. We're going to use our ink daubers for this, our finger daubers, to use it on our card. We're going to bring in some Pear Shimmer spray in gold, and you make sure you shake that up to get all that nice pigment moving, our on point glue, and our tear tape. So that's what we're going to be using, and I'm going to set this to the side. I went ahead and die cut our sentiment, and I have some embellishments in there, some tiny gold hearts. We're going to bring in two stencils. This burst one that looks like a tie-dye heart, and then a solid heart one. I have them stuck here on top of one another with some pixie spray, so I wouldn't lose them. Okay, so you can see the blue one is just a simple heart, and then the top one is a tie-dye style heart. And we're going to layer these to create our card today. So for our card, we have a 6x6 card, and I just cut my cardstock down about to 6x6, and then I just went in about a half an inch, scored it, and then I adhered that with my tear tape, pressed it down nice and hard, and now I have a 6x6 card base, and that's out of 110 pounds. Out of 65 pound weight, I have layering cardstock in this teal color, and I made that about 1/8 of an inch smaller than my card base, so I have a nice white border showing. Then I have some Bristol smooth, and I cut that about 1/8 of an inch smaller than my teal cardstock. And that's what we're going to be using today to ink on is Bristol smooth cardstock. So it'll all layer like this. Alright, let's get started with our project. First we're going to adhere, we're going to place, we're not adhering. We're going to place our heart stencil down, and then we're going to put the other one. The first one is going to be used almost like a mask, and then the second stencil will be what we'll be coloring through. So I'm going to start with Dandelion, and I'm just going to start in the center of our heart, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some of that in. Then I move on to Cantaloupe, then I move into New Sprout, then Pear Tart, and just it's barely a transition. It's harder to see on camera than in real life, but there is a transition in colors. Summer Sky, and then Teal Zeal. And I just keep blending these until I get the look that I want. So I go over it a few times, add a little more yellow or more green as needed, because I put a lot more blue than I was hoping to. But that's okay, we're just going to continue to go ahead and blend it in. So I go around the entire thing, making sure I get a nice blend. Once I do that, I add a little bit more to the center of the blue teal because I want that darker color. I gently remove the top layer. Now, I'm going to go around it just a bit here with a little bit of green, a little bit of the blue, which is a little bit of the sky blue, the summer sky, and Teal Zeal, and a little bit of both of the New Sprout and Pear Tart colors. And just a little bit of yellow right on top here, just for a nice accent. And that'll enhance our heart. Because if you were to peel it off, it would just give you a really like bursting looking heart. It wouldn't define it. Alright, so now I'm going to add some splatter using our sheer shimmer spray. I'm going to spray it right onto my craft mat here. And I'm just going to use a detail fine brush and just add little splatters all over the front of our card. Now I'm going to grab my heat tool and heat set this so that we can move on to adding our sentiment. This card comes together pretty quickly because you're just adding ink through a stencil, and you can change your colors up, of course, to make them more feminine if you prefer, although I love green, yellow, and blue together, but since this is a card for my son, I chose the colors he would like. So once I have this all heat set, now we're going to go ahead and then add this. We're going to start adding our sentiment and layering our card together. So I'm going to bring in our tear tape, and we're going to add it to the back of our panel that we just created. There's a little bit of warping, but not too much, and the tear tape will handle any of the minor warping we may have. I'm going to just go ahead and remove the backing here, And I'm only going to move partial backing on the edges so that I can help center my card panel onto this layering cardstock, and then I'll remove the rest of the backing off of it. I'll repeat this process now to the back of our layering cardstock, and now we'll adhere this full panel onto our card base. Get it as straight as possible, get our nice border, get it even on here. And this is why I only remove partial of the adhesive backing, because it's easier just to peel up a corner than it is an entire card. I'm going to bring in the on point glue here because we're going to adhere our sentiment. So the sentiment will read, "Love ya, man." This started out as "I love you, little man," as I would say to my son when he was small. And he wanted to repeat it back to me, so he would just say, "I love you, man." Because I was not a little, I was a big. So then I had to explain to him that I was not a man, I was a woman, and I was his mom. But Ed just never took. And he would always just say, "Love you, man." So to this day, I still say to him, "Love you, man," and he says it back to me. I also call him a little moon man, so he either says love, I either say "love you, moon" or "love you, man." Alright, so for the trick here for my sentiment to keep it straight, I line it up onto my craft mat, and I use a little post-it tape to pick up my letters, flip them over, and use some on-point glue on the back so that I can adhere them. I put an acrylic block on top just to keep them on there a few seconds to make sure it holds. Now I'm going to bring in our embellishment. I have a flat back gem heart. It's a blue faceted heart, and then tiny gold heart sequins or confetti to adhere here. I didn't want to overdo it with the embellishments. That's not the kind of guy he is. So I just wanted to keep it nice and minimal, but I wanted some embellishments. I put 3 towards the top, 3 towards the bottom, and 1 in the middle. And now our card is complete. Now you can see all the shimmer from the Shimmer spray in gold. The blending is perfect with our Memento inks. And again, let's go over it again. We use Memento ink in Dandelion, Cantaloupe, New Sprout, Pear, Tart, Summer Sky, and Teal, Zeal. And our Shimmer spray in gold. Like always, I'll have everything linked in the description box below, and I hope you found some inspiration today.